Welcome to the Chronicles of Lost Relations. We're so grateful to have you here. Your support means everything to us. If today's story resonated with you, or if you have any thoughts or feedback, we'd love to hear from you in the comments. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more stories that will move, inspire, and connect us all. Thank you for being part of our journey. Darren believed his life was flawless, or so he assumed. The warm Texas sun poured through the windows of his Austin home as he examined the blueprints laid out across his home office desk. By the age of 40, Wyatt had established a successful construction consultancy from scratch. He swept his hand through his salt and pepper hair, his blue eyes narrowing as he concentrated on the intricate details of his latest project. A gentle tap on the door interrupted his focus. "Father," Wyatt glanced up to find his 8-year-old daughter, Luna, peering around the doorframe, her golden curls accentuating a face that mirrored her mother's perfectly. "Hey there, sweetheart," Wyatt said, his serious demeanor melting into a warm smile. "Hello? How are you doing?" Luna leaped into the room, her pigtails dancing with each movement. "Could you assist me with my science project? It's due tomorrow, and I'm unsure how to make the volcano erupt." Wyatt looked at his watch. It was already after 7, and he still had tasks to complete. Yet a single glance at Luna's imploring eyes dissolved his determination. "Absolutely, my friend. Let's explore our options." As they strolled down the hallway, Wyatt's 10-year-old son, Max, darted past them, Nerf gun in hand. "Be careful," he shouted, leaping behind the couch. "Running is not permitted inside the house." Wyatt called after him, driven more by habit than genuine irritation. He cherished the tumult of family life, even when it occasionally disrupted his work. In the kitchen, Wyatt discovered his wife Isabel unpacking groceries. At 38, she remained as stunning as the day they first encountered each other in college. Her dark hair was gathered in a casual bun, and she was dressed in yoga pants paired with one of Wyatt's old t-shirts. "Hey, hon," Wyatt said, leaning in to plant a kiss on her cheek. "Do you require assistance?" Isabel recoiled a bit, pivoting to arrange cans in the pantry. "No, I understand. Thank you." Wyatt's brow furrowed, a well-known sensation of discomfort taking root in his stomach. Recently, it appeared that Isabel was constantly discovering excuses to evade his touch. He set the thought aside, directing his attention to Luna's volcano project. "Very well, let's take a look at what we have here," he remarked, scrutinizing the papier-mâché creation on the kitchen table. As Wyatt and Luna combined baking soda and vinegar, the front door swung open. "Hello, O'Connor clan," a resonant voice announced. Uncle Austin, Braden, and Luna called out in unison, leaving their tasks behind to greet the newcomer with enthusiasm. Wyatt's younger brother Austin, clad in his firefighter uniform, enveloped both kids in a warm bear hug. At 35, Austin resembled Wyatt closely, though he had a slightly more rugged appearance. While Wyatt embodied clean-cut precision, Austin sported a constant 5 o'clock shadow and an effortless charm that attracted people to him like moths to a flame. "Hey there, little bro," Wyatt said, giving Austin a friendly clap on the shoulder. "What brings you here?" Austin smiled, playfully tousling Braden's hair. "Isn't it possible for a guy to simply visit his favorite family?" "Uncle Austin, would you like to join me for some video games?" Braden inquired, pulling gently at his uncle's sleeve. "Not tonight, my friend," Wyatt interjected. "It's nearing bedtime, and there's still homework left to complete." Braden's expression dimmed, yet Austin arrived just in time to turn things around. "Listen up, my friend. I'll swing by this weekend, and we'll dive into an unforgettable gaming marathon. Agreement? Agreed!" Braden exchanged a high five with his uncle before slowly making his way to his room. Wyatt faced Austin. "You really indulge them, don't you?" Austin shrugged, his effortless smile remaining intact. "Isn't that what uncles are meant to do?" He cast a quick look in the direction of the kitchen. "Hello, Isabel." Wyatt noticed how Isabel's posture became more upright at the sound of Austin's voice. She turned, a radiant smile lighting up her face. "Austin, I wasn't aware you were stopping by. Do you feel hungry? I can create something quickly." "No, I'm fine," Austin replied. "I wanted to check in and see if Wyatt could use any assistance with the debt project he brought up." Wyatt lifted an eyebrow. "Project related to debt? I see. I've been intending to replace some of the rotting boards in the back, but it feels a bit too late to begin that now." Austin emphasized that there was no time like the present. "Let's go, my friend. I have a few hours to spare before my shift. Let's take a moment to examine it and strategize accordingly. Wyatt paused, casting a glance at Isabel. She dismissed them with a wave. Go ahead, I'll take care of putting the kids to bed. As Wyatt trailed behind Austin into the backyard, an unsettling feeling lingered in his mind, yet he had unwavering trust in his brother. Austin had consistently supported him, assisting with the children and offering help around the home. He was almost like a second father to Braden and Luna. In the weeks that followed, Wyatt became more and more absorbed in his work. A significant project was approaching its deadline, and he was dedicating extensive hours at the office. Upon arriving home, he frequently found himself too drained to do anything beyond giving the kids a goodnight kiss before sinking into bed. As Wyatt prepared to leave the office one night, his phone vibrated with a message from Isabel. Staying late once more. Do not stay awake for me. Wyatt let out a sigh, massaging his temples. He had received similar messages recently. It appeared that Isabel was discovering increasingly numerous justifications to spend time away from home. When he inquired about it, she dismissed him, claiming she was assisting a friend in need or reconnecting with former college roommates. He composed a reply. Is everything all right? 3 dots emerged, only to vanish moments later. At last, a concise response arrived without any issues, simply occupied. Wyatt gazed at the screen, a tightness coiling in his stomach. He struggled to recall the last occasion when he and Isabel had genuinely conversed, much less shared an intimate moment. Whenever he attempted to make physical contact, she always had a reason to distance herself. While driving home, Wyatt's thoughts surged through his mind. Was Isabel feeling discontent? Was he overlooking her needs? Are you overly concentrated on your job and the children? He decided to put in greater effort to reconnect with his wife and restore the intimacy they had once enjoyed. However, in the following days, Wyatt's efforts to mend things proved unsuccessful. He brought home flowers, only to discover that Isabel had already departed for a girls' night out. He proposed a date night, but she feigned a headache and retired to bed early. With every rejection, Wyatt's confidence diminished, making him feel more and more alone within the confines of his own home. Austin was the one who finally brought up the topic, confronting Wyatt in the garage one Saturday afternoon while they were fixing Braden's bike. Is everything going well for you and Isabel? Austin inquired, his tone deliberately even. Wyatt's hand slipped, scraping his knuckle against the bike chain. He muttered a curse before responding. Absolutely. What prompts your inquiry? Austin shrugged, avoiding Wyatt's gaze. I'm not sure, my friend. It appears that you both have been somewhat disconnected recently. I wondered if perhaps you had an argument or something similar. We're fine, Wyatt asserted, more curtly than he had meant to. Simply occupied, that's it. Austin raised his hands in surrender. All right. I was simply concerned for you, my friend. Just a reminder that I'm always available if you want to chat. Wyatt's demeanor softened as a wave of gratitude washed over him, touched by his brother's concern. I understand, Austin. Thank you. Truly, all is well. I've been feeling quite stressed about this project at work, and it seems I've been directing that frustration towards Isabel. I will find a way to make amends with her. As the days passed, Wyatt struggled more and more to overlook the widening gap between himself and his wife. Isabel increasingly found herself away from home, frequently not coming back until late at night. In her presence, she seemed preoccupied and short-tempered, rebuking the children for trivial mistakes and evading Wyatt's efforts to engage in dialogue. One night, as Wyatt lay awake, he listened to Isabel's steady breathing beside him when a troubling thought began to invade his mind. Could it be that she was involved in an affair? He quickly dismissed the thought, feeling embarrassed by his own doubt. Isabel would never betray him or their family, would she? However, after being planted, the seed of doubt started to flourish. Wyatt began to observe Isabel more intently, taking note of how she protected her phone and the constant presence of her texting. He reassured himself that he was merely being paranoid, that stress and insecurity were distorting his perception, yet he couldn't dismiss the persistent sensation that something was indeed amiss. On a Tuesday evening, the situation reached its climax. Wyatt finished his work ahead of schedule, eager to surprise Isabel and the kids with takeout from their favorite Italian restaurant. Upon entering the driveway, he observed Austin's truck stationed on the street. A surge of relief enveloped him. Austin was likely just assisting with the kids while Isabel took care of her errands. Wyatt was endlessly grateful for the fact that his brother was always ready to lend a hand. Wyatt slipped into the house silently, eager to keep the surprise intact. The living room and kitchen stood vacant, yet he detected muffled sounds emanating from upstairs, his brow furrowing in response. He placed the takeout bags on the counter and proceeded towards the staircase. As he climbed higher, the sounds became more distinct. The sounds were emanating from the master bedroom, the shared space of him and Isabel. Wyatt felt his heart quicken, his palms becoming damp with perspiration. This was unimaginable. It must have been a mix-up. He extended his hand toward the doorknob, a slight tremor evident in his fingers. He paused for a moment. Did he genuinely desire to uncover what lay beyond? Yet Darren had never been one to shy away from a challenge. With a deep breath, he grasped the knob and gently pushed the door open. The sight that met his eyes would remain etched in his mind for all time. On the bed he shared with his wife lay Isabel and Austin, exposed, intertwined, lost in fervent desire. For an instant, it felt as though time had frozen. Wyatt blinked, convinced he was experiencing a mirage, yet the scene before him remained unchanged, his wife, his brother, deceiving him in the most personal manner imaginable. In that moment, Isabel's gaze locked onto his, almost as if time had slowed down. They expanded in disbelief and dread. "Wyatt!" she exclaimed, hurriedly attempting to shield herself with the sheets. The utterance of his name from her lips broke the spell of Wyatt's stillness. A fierce growl erupted from his throat as he surged forward, seizing Austin by the shoulder and pulling him off the bed. Austin faltered, almost losing his footing as he attempted to steady himself. "Wyatt, hold on." I can provide an explanation, yet Wyatt transcended the need for one. Years of accumulated frustration, uncertainty, and now betrayal erupted in a whirlwind of fists. He forcefully pushed Austin against the wall, his knuckles making solid contact with his brother's jaw, producing a gratifying crunch. Austin remained passive, caught in a state of either shock or guilt. Wyatt was indifferent and uninformed. He struck his brother repeatedly, each hit driven by a surge of anger and hurt. "How could you do that?" Wyatt snarled, emphasizing each word with another blow. "My beloved wife, my beloved children." In the distance, he could hear Isabel's cries, pleading with him to cease. Yet her pleas only intensified his fury. How could she possibly think she can protect Austin at this point, following their actions? Only when Austin collapsed onto the floor, his face a gruesome sight, did Wyatt finally take a step back. He breathed heavily, his knuckles split and throbbing. He glanced at Isabel, who had cocooned herself in a blanket, huddled in the corner of the room. "What is the duration?" Wyatt insisted, his tone deep and menacing. Isabel wept, shaking her head in despair. "Wyatt, if you would be so kind. It's not as you perceive. This was not our intention. What is the duration?" Wyatt let out a fierce roar, making both Isabel and Austin recoil. Isabel fell apart entirely, her words spilling out in a chaotic torrent. "It had occurred not long ago. I promise, Wyatt, it was nothing significant. We have erred. You must trust me on this." Yet Wyatt could perceive the deception reflected in her gaze. His gaze became steely, his voice chillingly cold. "Please refrain from insulting me with falsehoods, Isabel. Be honest with me, or, I promise you, I will leave this place, and you will never see me again." The menace appeared to cut through Isabel's frenzy. She inhaled sharply, her gaze flickering between Wyatt and the still figure of Austin. At last, in a tone scarcely louder than a whisper, she admitted her truth. She mentioned a decade. "It has been ongoing for a decade." The word struck Wyatt with the force of a physical blow. 10 years. Their whole marriage had been a facade. Each time Austin visited to lend a hand, during every family dinner, and in every instance Wyatt entrusted his brother with his children, it had all been an illusion. As the full weight of the betrayal settled in, a cold, calculating anger took the place of Wyatt's initial fury. A decade. Braden was 10. Luna was 8. The timeline abruptly clarified, bringing with it a chilling realization. Wyatt's eyes moved from Isabel to Austin, and then returned to her. Silently, he turned and exited the room. Isabel's voice echoed behind him, filled with desperation and pleading, yet he chose not to turn around. In his home office, Wyatt secured the door and settled into his chair. His thoughts were in a frenzy, assembling a tapestry of 10 years filled with falsehoods and betrayal. He retrieved his phone, his fingers gliding effortlessly as he looked for DNA testing services. As he placed an order for 3 test kits, Wyatt experienced an unusual sense of tranquility wash over him. The existence he once believed in had vanished, broken beyond mending, yet he was determined to uncover the entire truth. And then, he vowed to himself, there would be a reckoning. Isabel and Austin had shattered his reality. Now Wyatt would obliterate theirs. Wyatt sat in his home office, the DNA test kits spread out on the desk in front of him. The house had descended into an unsettling silence following his encounter with Isabel and Austin. He could hear faint sobs coming from the master bedroom, but it hardly registered with him. His thoughts were concentrated on a singular goal: obtaining answers. A gentle rap on the office door interrupted his focus. Wyatt. Isabel's voice quivered. Could we have a conversation, please? Wyatt's jaw tightened. There is no discussion to be had. However, the children. Wyatt interrupted her, his tone cutting. Are they truly mine, Isabel? Silence lingered between them, interrupted solely by Isabel's unsteady breaths. Wyatt, please, she murmured at last. They are your children. You brought them up. Your affection for them is evident. Wyatt rose suddenly, pulling the door open with force. Isabel staggered backward, her eyes swollen and tear-stained, hair in disarray. She had hastily put on a robe, yet Wyatt could still discern the marks on her neck, the remnants of his brother's touch. Don't, he growled. Do not attempt to manipulate me. Not at this moment. Isabel extended her hand toward him, yet Wyatt took a step back. I am not, and I would not. 10 years, Isabel, Wyatt said, his voice dangerously low. A decade of deception. Did you ever truly love me, or was I merely a convenient facade for you and Austin? Isabel's cheeks were streaked with tears. I certainly loved you. I continue to love you. This has just occurred. Our intention was never to cause you pain. Wyatt let out a laugh that was sharp and filled with bitterness. You never intended to cause me pain? You have been unfaithful to me with my brother throughout our marriage, in our bed, in our home, while I dedicated myself to providing for this family. You both were mocking me. Isabel protested softly. It wasn't like that. What was the experience like? Wyatt insisted. Could you please clarify it for me, Isabel? Assist me in grasping how you could have deceived me in such a manner. Isabel parted her lips, only to seal them once more. She appeared to diminish beneath Wyatt's stare. That's what I believed, Wyatt remarked with a chill in his voice. Where is Austin? He departed, Isabel murmured, following your departure after the events that transpired above. Wyatt nodded, showing no surprise. Naturally, his timid brother had fled. Well done. I expect you both to leave this house by morning. Gather your belongings and leave. Isabel's eyes grew wide with alarm. But where shall we venture? What is the situation with the children? You ought to have considered that prior to tearing this family apart. Wyatt responded, unaffected. The children remain here. I will clarify everything for them in the morning. Wyatt, I kindly ask you, Isabel pleaded, clutching his arm tightly. Please refrain from doing this. We can navigate this together. For the children, if for no other reason. Wyatt flinched at her touch. There is no longer a path, Isabel. Your decision has been made. Now you must face the repercussions. He then turned and made his way back into his office, shutting and securing the door behind him. He could hear Isabel's muffled sobs through the wood, yet he felt no emotion. The affection he had once felt for her had been reduced to mere remnants, leaving behind only ashes and a steely determination. Wyatt dedicated the night to his office, engaging in calls and dispatching emails. By morning, he had arranged meetings with a divorce attorney and a private investigator. He would also make arrangements for a colleague to take over his work responsibilities for the upcoming days. This circumstance demanded his complete focus. As he finally stepped out of his office, the house lay in silence. Isabel's car was absent from the driveway, and a brief inspection of the master bedroom verified that she had removed the majority of her clothing and personal belongings. Well done. At least she had the wisdom to adhere to his guidance. Wyatt walked into the kitchen and began brewing a pot of coffee. He would require the caffeine to navigate the discussions that lay before him. While he waited for the coffee to brew, he heard the soft sound of small feet descending the stairs. "Father." Luna's voice carried a drowsy and bewildered quality. "Where is Mommy?" Wyatt turned, managing to put a smile on his face. "Good morning, darling. Mommy had to leave for a short time. Let's go and have some breakfast." While pouring cereal for Luna and a still groggy Braden, Wyatt's thoughts surged with intensity. What is the appropriate amount of information he should share with them? How could he convey that their whole existence was on the brink of transformation? "Is Mom doing all right?" Braden inquired, displaying greater insight than his sister. "She appeared to be troubled last night." Wyatt let out a sigh as he took a seat at the table beside him. "Children, there is an important matter we must discuss. Your mother and I are experiencing some difficulties. She will be staying elsewhere for a period of time." Luna's lower lip quivered. "Did you experience a conflict?" "Something along those lines," Wyatt remarked, selecting his words with precision. "At times, even when adults care for one another, they may engage in actions that cause pain to each other. At times, this signifies that they can no longer coexist." "Are you in the process of getting a divorce?" Braden inquired directly. Wyatt locked eyes with his son, eyes that resembled Austin's so closely. He dismissed the thought. "Absolutely, my friend. I believe we are." Luna erupted in tears, and Braden's expression fell apart. Wyatt embraced them both, holding them close as their tears flowed. His eyes stayed dry. He was out of tears to cry. In the days that followed, Wyatt immersed himself in activity. He met with his lawyer, Lauren Cortez, a keen-eyed woman known for her fierce approach in divorce cases. "Mr. O'Connor, you have a compelling argument," Lauren remarked as she examined the notes Wyatt had shared. "Infidelity and long-term deception can be leveraged to secure full custody and an advantageous division of assets." Wyatt acknowledged with a nod. "I want to secure them firmly in place, Lauren. They are not worthy of a single cent." Lauren raised an eyebrow slightly. "Those individuals? You brought up your wife's affair, but what else is there to say?" "It was with my brother," Wyatt stated plainly. Lauren emitted a soft whistle. "Jesus! All right, that alters the situation. That would certainly be beneficial for us. Have you thought about getting a paternity test for the children?" "It's already taken care of," Wyatt responded. "I am currently awaiting the results." Lauren nodded in approval. "If it is determined that they are not your biological children, we can leverage that to contest any child support claims. However, I must caution you that considering the duration of your marriage and your position as their father, you may still have legal obligations." Wyatt's jaw tightened. "They won't receive a single penny from me. Neither Isabel, nor Austin, nor those children. I wish to remove them all from my life permanently." Lauren observed him for a moment, then gave a nod. "Very well, we will strike decisively. I will prepare the necessary documents, and we can begin this process." Upon exiting Lauren's office, Wyatt felt his phone vibrate. The lab sent a message indicating that the DNA results had arrived. With his heart racing, Wyatt opened the email. The text on the screen became indistinct as he read, yet its significance was unmistakable. Braden and Luna were not his biological children. The existence he had created, the family he had cherished and safeguarded, had all been an illusion. Wyatt staggered to his car, just managing to get inside before the fury consumed him. He pounded his fists on the steering wheel, a raw scream erupting from his throat. How could they treat him this way? How could they allow him to raise children that weren't even his? As the first surge of anger subsided, Wyatt experienced a chilling clarity enveloping him. He understood the course of action he needed to take. Isabel and Austin didn't merely betray him. They had taken years of his life and deceived him into loving children that were his brothers. They would certainly face the consequences for that. He would ensure it. In the weeks that followed, Wyatt found himself engulfed in a flurry of legal meetings, therapy sessions for the children, and late nights dedicated to devising his revenge. He had relocated Braden and Luna to the guest rooms, finding it difficult to face them without seeing the resemblance to Austin in their features. He understood it wasn't their fault, yet he found it difficult to rekindle the affection he once felt for them. Isabel attempted to reach out to him several times, leaving emotional voicemails and sending desperate texts. Wyatt dismissed everyone, conveying his messages solely via his attorney. Austin, as expected, had vanished completely. Wyatt learned from informal sources that his brother had stepped away from the fire department, mentioning personal reasons for his absence. On a brisk autumn morning, Wyatt found himself once more in the presence of Isabel, within the clinical atmosphere of a mediation room. She appeared quite unwell, with dark circles beneath her eyes and hair that was limp and unwashed. Wyatt experienced a brief surge of satisfaction at her clear discomfort. "Wyatt," Isabel said gently as he took a seat across from her, "I appreciate your willingness to meet." Wyatt remained silent, merely nodding at Lauren to start. "Mrs. O'Connor," Lauren began, her tone distinctly formal, "today we gather to talk about the details surrounding your divorce. Mr. O'Connor is ready to present you with a one-time settlement in return for your consent to relinquish all parental rights and forego any claims to alimony or child support." Isabel's eyes grew wide with astonishment. "And my rights? Wyatt, you must be joking. They are my children. They do not belong to me," Wyatt responded, his voice breaking the silence for the first time. He pushed a copy of the DNA results across the table, and before long they won't belong to you either, at least in a legal sense. Isabel's hands trembled as she perused the report. "However, this does not alter the situation. You brought them up, Wyatt. You are their father, in all the ways that truly count." "No," Wyatt replied with a chill in his voice. "I am the individual whom you and Austin deceived into caring for your children." "That stops here." Isabel's cheeks were wet with tears. "Wyatt, I urge you not to proceed with this. They care for you deeply. Your presence is essential to them. They require their true father," Wyatt declared. "By the way, where is Austin?" "Too afraid to confront me." Isabel recoiled. "He departed from the town. I am uncertain of his whereabouts." Wyatt let out a harsh laugh. "Certainly he did. You should make it a priority to locate him, as he is on the verge of becoming a single father. They shouldn't be discarded so easily." Isabel wept. "After all that we've experienced together, all that we've exchanged, it seems we've only exchanged falsehoods." Wyatt interrupted her. "Each moment of our marriage was deceitful. Every 'I love you,' every family dinner, every Christmas morning, everything was constructed on your deceit." Isabel concealed her face in her hands, her shoulders trembling with tears. Wyatt observed her, indifferent. In the past, her tears had the power to shatter his heart. Now, they merely strengthened his determination. "This is what will occur," Wyatt stated, his tone icy and professional. "You will be signing these documents to terminate your parental rights. I will provide a one-time payment of $50,000 in return, sufficient for you to begin anew in a distant place from here." Isabel gazed upward, her expression one of utter astonishment. $50,000? That's insignificant. What is the situation with the house? What about your business? We created that life together, Wyatt. No, Wyatt corrected her. I created that life. You were preoccupied with my brother and didn't offer anything of substance. That seems unjust. Isabel voiced her objections. I nurtured our children. I stood by you, Dash. Wyatt growled, You raised his children. All you did was prioritize your own selfish desires. Isabel, you received nothing. The house, the business, the money, all of it remains with me. Consider yourself fortunate that I'm extending any offer to you. Isabel faced Lauren, her eyes filled with desperation. Is it possible for him to do this? I possess rights. Lauren's smile resembled that of a shark. Mrs. O'Connor, considering the situation surrounding your infidelity and the length of your deceit, Mr. O'Connor's proposal is indeed quite generous. I recommend that you accept it. What about Braden and Luna? Isabel inquired, her voice barely above a whisper. Wyatt stated matter-of-factly that they will be placed in foster care, unless you can persuade Austin to take on the role of a father. Isabel's expression twisted in distress. What is the method for accomplishing this? What makes you so heartless? Harsh? Wyatt leaned forward, his eyes aflame. It is harsh to deceive your husband for a decade. It is unkind to allow him to think he is a father while you are involved with his brother. It is heartless to tear apart a family for one's own selfish enjoyment. This is what justice looks like. Isabel took the pen Lauren offered, her hands trembling slightly. I need some time to think and to have a conversation with Austin. You have 24 hours, Wyatt stated while standing. Following that, the proposal will no longer be available. Rest assured, you won't see a single cent or those children again. As he exited the room, Wyatt could hear Isabel's shattered sobs echoing behind him. He experienced only a bleak sense of satisfaction. This marked merely the start of his quest for vengeance. In the days that followed, Wyatt began to implement his plan. He engaged a private investigator to locate Austin, resolute in his intent to ensure his brother confronted the repercussions of his deeds. He initiated the process of listing the house for sale and transferring his business assets into a trust that Isabel would not be able to access. The children, picking up on the atmosphere in the house, grew quiet and moody. Wyatt tried his hardest to look after them, yet he found it difficult to extend the warmth and affection he had once freely given. Whenever he gazed at them, he felt the weight of Austin's betrayal reflected in their depths. A week had passed since the mediation meeting when Wyatt's phone rang, displaying an unfamiliar number. Despite his reservations, he responded. Wyatt, Austin's voice carried a note of hesitation, almost tinged with fear. I kindly ask that you don't hang up. We have something important to discuss. Wyatt tightened his grip on the phone. There is no discussion to be had, Austin. Your decision has been made. I understand, Austin replied swiftly. I understand I made a mistake, but I urge you to consider the children. They should not have to endure the consequences of our errors, the errors we have made. Wyatt let out a harsh laugh. No, this was your error, you and Isabel's. Now you must face the repercussions of your actions. What is it that you seek from me, Wyatt? Austin inquired, his voice tinged with urgency. I am willing to do whatever it takes. Please refrain from directing your frustrations towards Braden and Luna. Wyatt remained quiet for an extended period. As he spoke, his voice carried a chilling resolve. Do you wish to set things straight, Austin? Then you rise to the occasion. You assume responsibility for your children. You reveal to them the truth that their uncle is actually their father and that their mother has deceived them, leading to the destruction of their family. Wyatt, please, Austin urged. They are merely children. We can find a solution for co-parenting and make this work, Wyatt interrupted him. There is no longer an E. Co-parenting does not exist. You have taken my life away, Austin. My union, my offspring, my faith, everything is lost. Now, I am taking everything from you. Could you clarify what you mean? Austin inquired, his voice tinged with apprehension. I mean, I'm going to destroy you, Wyatt said with a calm demeanor. Your professional journey, your standing, all that you have built. When I finish, you might find it challenging to secure even a position flipping burgers. Those children you profess to care for will undoubtedly recognize the true nature of their father. You can't do this, Austin protested, his voice lacking conviction. Observe closely, Wyatt responded. With that, he ended the call. As he placed the phone down, Wyatt experienced a chilling sense of satisfaction envelop him. The elements were aligning perfectly. Before long, Isabel and Austin would grasp the real consequences of their treachery. Wyatt would reconstruct his life, more resilient and unyielding than ever, using the remnants of their ruin as his base. The morning sun streamed through the blinds of Wyatt's home office, creating elongated shadows that danced across the room. He sat at his desk, enveloped by legal documents and financial statements. The house remained still, as Max and Luna were spending the week with a neighbor. Wyatt had informed them it was a special sleepover, yet the reality was he could no longer stand to face them. A sudden knock on the front door shattered the stillness. Wyatt checked his watch. He was right on schedule. He stood tall, adjusting his tie as he approached the door. Lauren Cortez stood on the porch, holding her briefcase. Good morning, Mr. O'Connor. Are you prepared to complete this? Wyatt acknowledged her presence with a nod, moving aside to allow her entry. Fully prepared. It's time to put an end to this pretense once and for all. They took their seats in the living room, with Lauren laying out papers on the coffee table. I have prepared the final divorce agreement as you requested. It's quite forceful, to put it mildly. Good, Wyatt said, his voice firm. They are not worthy of any mercy. Lauren paused for a moment before she began to speak. Wyatt, I must inquire, are you certain about this? Severing all connections with the children is not a decision that can be easily reversed. Wyatt's eyes gleamed with intensity. They aren't my children, Lauren. They were never that. I was merely someone who was deceived into taking care of another man's children. Indeed, Lauren acknowledged that from a biological perspective. However, you have fulfilled the role of their father in every other aspect for 10 years. The foundation of that bond is built on falsehoods. Wyatt interrupted her. I prefer not to discuss it any further. Let's complete this task efficiently. Lauren nodded, her composed demeanor reasserting itself. I have arranged the final mediation for this afternoon. Isabel will be accompanied by her lawyer. Are you ready for that? Wyatt's jaw tightened. I am ready to conclude this matter definitively. The mediation room felt uninviting and clinical, mirroring the detachment in Wyatt's emotions as he faced Isabel. She appeared disheveled, with messy hair and dark circles beneath her eyes. A slight sense of satisfaction flickered within Wyatt at the sight of her evident distress. Isabel's lawyer, a young man with a nervous demeanor, cleared his throat. Mr. O'Connor, we have examined your proposal, and to be honest, it is unacceptable. Wyatt interrupted, stating that my client, your client, is fortunate that I am not pursuing charges for fraud. After a decade of deception, of nurturing children who are not my own, she ought to appreciate that I am providing anything at all. Isabel recoiled at his words. Wyatt, please, she murmured, her voice barely above a whisper. They remain our children. You have a deep affection for them. I adore the deception. Wyatt reacted sharply. Every aspect of our life together was a deception, Isabel, and now we must confront the reality. Lauren entered, her tone calm and authoritative. Shall we take a moment to review the terms? Mr. O'Connor is proposing a single payment of $50,000 in return for Mrs. O'Connor relinquishing all parental rights and consenting to a permanent no-contact order for both herself and the children, the court. Isabel's lawyer exclaimed, This is unacceptable. My client has dedicated years to being a stay-at-home mother. She is entitled to alimony and child support. She has no claim to anything. Wyatt let out a low growl. She decided to end our marriage for a relationship with my brother. She decided to deceive me regarding the paternity of those children. Now she is able to embrace those choices. Isabel's face was wet with tears. Wyatt, I understand that I caused you pain. I understand that my actions were beyond redemption. However, I kindly ask that the children not be held accountable for my errors. They care for you deeply. Your presence is essential to them. Wyatt leaned forward, his gaze icy. No, Isabel, they require their biological father. By the way, where is Austin? Too afraid to confront me. Isabel cast her gaze downward, her voice barely above a whisper. He has departed from the town. I am uncertain of his whereabouts. Certainly he did, Wyatt scoffed. You should make it a priority to locate him. As of today, those kids are his responsibility, not mine. The mediation extended for several hours. Ultimately, Wyatt achieved all his desires. Isabel, shattered and resigned, relinquished her rights to the children and consented to the no-contact order. As she rose to depart, she offered one final appeal. Wyatt, she said, her voice quivering, I understand that you dislike me, and you are completely justified in feeling that way. However, I kindly ask that you refrain from harboring any animosity towards them. They are blameless in this situation. Wyatt stood, collecting his papers. Farewell, Isabel. I wish you and Austin all the happiness in the world together. As he exited the room, the sound of Isabel's sobs resonated behind him. He experienced only a chilling sense of satisfaction. The first stage of his retribution had been successfully executed. In the weeks that followed, Wyatt immersed himself in his work, growing his construction business and embracing new projects. He sold the family home, unable to endure residing in a space laden with countless deceptive memories. The children were temporarily placed in foster care while awaiting Austin's return. On a brisk autumn morning, Wyatt's phone buzzed with a call from an unfamiliar number. He responded, his tone sharp. Darren, Wyatt. Austin's voice carried a sense of hesitation, tinged with fear. Kindly refrain from disconnecting the call. It's important that we have a conversation. Wyatt tightened his grip on the phone. There is no discussion to be had, Austin. Your decision has been made. I understand, Austin replied swiftly. I understand I made a mistake, But I urge you to consider the children. They should not have to endure the consequences of our errors. Our errors. Wyatt let out a harsh laugh. No, this was your error. You and Isabel's. Now you must face the repercussions of your actions. What is it that you seek from me, Wyatt? Austin inquired, a sense of urgency tinging his tone. I am willing to do whatever it takes. Please refrain from directing any frustration towards Braden and Luna. Wyatt remained quiet for an extended period. His voice was icy and resolute when he spoke. Do you wish to set things straight, Austin? Then you rise to the occasion. You assume responsibility for your children. You reveal to them the truth that their uncle is, in fact, their father, and that their mother is deceitful and has caused the downfall of their family. Wyatt, please, Austin urged. They are merely children. We can find a solution for co-parenting that will allow us to make this work. Wyatt interrupted him. There is no longer a sense of unity. Co-parenting does not exist. You have taken my life away, Austin. My marriage, my children, my trust. It's all vanished. Now, I am taking everything from you. Could you clarify what you mean? Austin inquired, his voice tinged with apprehension. I intend to bring about your downfall, Wyatt stated in a composed manner. Your professional journey, your standing, all that you have built. When I'm finished, you might find it challenging to secure even a position flipping burgers. You can't do this, Austin said, his voice faltering. Observe me. Wyatt responded and ended the call, faithful to his promise. Wyatt spoke about the methodical disassembly of Austin's life. He employed a private investigator to uncover every piece of information he could locate about his brother. The skeletons quickly began to emerge from Austin's closet. Wyatt disclosed details regarding Austin's affair to the fire department, resulting in his brother's termination for inappropriate conduct. He provided an anonymous tip to the local news regarding a drunk driving incident that Austin had concealed years earlier. He took the extra step of reaching out to Austin's former girlfriends, urging them to share any unflattering tales they may possess. In a matter of weeks, Austin's reputation lay in ruins. He was unable to secure employment and felt unable to appear in public without facing disdain and contempt. Wyatt observed the entire scene from a distance. A chilling sense of contentment nestled within his chest. One evening, while Wyatt was in his new apartment examining blueprints for a project, his phone vibrated with a message from an unfamiliar number. The image captured Braden and Luna, their expressions reflecting fear and confusion in what seemed to be his social services office. A message was placed below the photo. Is this what you were hoping for, Wyatt? Are you content now? Wyatt gazed at the photo for an extended moment, a blend of feelings churning within him. For a fleeting moment, he experienced a twinge of remorse. Yet, he recalled the deceit, the treachery, and his determination solidified anew. He composed a response. They are now your responsibility, Austin. It's time to step up and embrace your role as a father. Weeks transformed into months. Wyatt immersed himself in his work, growing his business, and tackling larger projects. He relocated to Houston, looking forward to a new beginning, free from the haunting memories of Austin. As he was examining plans in his new office one day, there was a knock on the door from his assistant. Mr. O'Connor, you have a call from Isabel. She claims it's urgent. Wyatt's jaw tightened. Inform her that I'm not available. The assistant paused. She appears to be quite desperate, sir. The children seemed to be facing some difficulties. For a brief instant, Wyatt felt the urge to reach for the phone. Yet, he recalled the years filled with deceit, the treachery, and his determination solidified. I have no interest. Please inform her not to contact this number again. Once the assistant departed, Wyatt redirected his focus to his tasks. His phone buzzed with the text, yet another plea from Isabel. He deleted the message without even reading it. As the months went by, Wyatt's new life in Houston started to come into focus. His business was flourishing, and he had even begun to date again, casually, without any serious commitments. He reassured himself that he was content, that he had left behind the hurt of his history. Yet, on certain late nights, he would catch himself gazing at old family photographs, pondering the lives of Braden and Luna. Were they all right? Did they resent him for leaving them behind? He set aside these thoughts, reminding himself that they had never really been his children to start with. On a brisk autumn morning, Nearly a year to the day since he had uncovered Isabel's betrayal, Wyatt found himself facing an unexpected visitor at his office. "Mr. O'Connor," the voice of his assistant crackled through the intercom. "Lauren Cortez is here to see you. She emphasizes its significance." Wyatt scowled. He had not communicated with his divorce attorney for several months. "Have her come in." Lauren appeared much as she had during the divorce proceedings, yet there was a seriousness in her expression that caused Wyatt to hesitate. "Greetings, Lauren." He welcomed her with a gesture, inviting her to take a seat. "What brings you to Houston?" Lauren inhaled deeply. "Wyatt, I understand you requested that I refrain from reaching out regarding Isabel or the children, but there has been an incident. I wanted to bring this to your attention." Wyatt felt a tightness in his stomach, yet he maintained a neutral expression. "What is it?" "There was an accident," Lauren said gently. Austin was driving under the influence, with the children in the vehicle. Wyatt sensed the color leave his cheeks. "Are they indeed?" Lauren quickly reassured him that they were alive. "What happened to cause the injury?" "Braden has sustained a broken arm while Luna is currently in critical condition. There is uncertainty about whether she will pull through." For a brief instant, Wyatt found himself unable to draw a breath. The world appeared to shift on its axis. "Where is Austin?" he ultimately succeeded in asking. Lauren responded while in custody. "He is confronting several charges, including DUI, child endangerment, and potentially vehicular manslaughter." She fell silent, allowing the bleak possibility to linger unvoiced. Wyatt rose suddenly, walking back and forth across his office. "What is the reason for sharing this with me, Lauren? They are not my children." "I expressed that quite clearly." Lauren's voice carried a softness, yet maintained a strong presence. "Regardless of biology, you have been the one to raise those kids for 10 years, Wyatt. You were a father to them in every significant aspect. At this moment, your support is essential to them." Wyatt ceased his pacing and gazed out the window at the Houston skyline. He recalled Braden's gap-toothed smile and Luna's infectious laughter. He reminisced about bedtime stories and scraped knees, the first days of school, and the proud moments on the baseball field. He reflected on the lies, the betrayal, the years of his life taken away by the deception of Isabel and Austin. As he faced Lauren again, his expression was etched with stern resolve. "I regret that they are in pain." "Indeed. However, I stand by my previous statement. They are neither my children nor my responsibility." Lauren stood, her eyes reflecting her disappointment. "I comprehend. I simply had a thought. I sincerely hope you will think it over again." Upon reaching the door, Wyatt spoke once more. "Thank you for sharing that with me, Lauren. However, I kindly ask that you refrain from reaching out to me regarding them in the future." Once Lauren departed, Wyatt sank into his chair, burying his face in his hands. For a fleeting instant, he permitted himself to acknowledge the burden of all that he had lost: his marriage, his family, his faith in the world. He straightened, burying his emotions deep within. He embraced a new life, complete with a thriving business and a renewed beginning. He refused to allow the specters of his history to pull him under once more. Wyatt faced his computer, accessing the blueprints for his most recent project. While he focused on his tasks, he set aside any thoughts of Braden and Luna. They were not his children. They were never his children. At last, they were gone from his life for good. His phone vibrated with yet another message from Isabel. Wyatt deleted it without a second thought and promptly blocked her number. He extended the same courtesy to Austin and all others linked to his previous life in Austin. As the sun dipped below the horizon in Houston, Wyatt gazed at the city laid out before him. This was his realm now, pristine, straightforward, devoid of deceit and treachery. He reassured himself that he was content. In the stillness before slumber, if he occasionally sensed a hollow ache in his chest, it was merely a minor cost for the freedom he cherished. Darren had reconstructed his existence from the remnants of treachery. He had grown stronger, perhaps a bit colder, yet he was free from the burden of insincere connections. As he switched off the lights in his office and made his way home, a sense of grim satisfaction washed over him. He had endured. He emerged victorious. He would never permit himself to experience that kind of pain again.